Actress Bo Derek has kept a pretty low professional profile over the last few years, but with NBC's new series Wind on Water, her self-imposed exile is over.
How's he doing?
Great. Another couple of treatments, his leg will be as good as new. Your grandfather believed the salt water was the cure-all for whatever ails you.
And isn't it?
You're in a good mood.
Yeah, well, Iz came up with a steak for Cole. Guy's trying to rustle up a boat. So it looks like we're gonna head out and chase the big waves and the big money after all.
Have you told your father?
Cole's with him now.
Your father and I made a pact long ago to keep this land and work it. It was our dream. You follow your dreams wherever they may take you. You be careful, Lee.
Bo Derek, welcome back to Today. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You haven't worked an awful lot lately. What is it, or what was it about this show that made you say, okay, I'm ready to get back in front of the camera?
I was kind of ready anyway. I wasn't specifically looking for television, but Zalman King brought the project to me, and it had, to read the script, it had a very old-fashioned Big Valley feel, which was one of my favorite shows. I didn't see myself necessarily as the Barbara Stanwyck part, but it's a great part. I love it. And at the same time, it has a very modern feel with extreme sports and a lot of action. And I get to do a lot of riding, and I grew up doing water sports in my own life. So it felt very comfortable. One
of the things that you noticed right off the bat when we saw the clip is that in the show you play the mother of two teenage boys who are very much into, as you mentioned, extreme sports. How is it, not being a mother, taking on the role of motherhood in a series like this?
I don't know. I have nothing to base it on except I've raised a lot of horses and dogs, so I'm just assuming they're not very different. So, but it's well written. It's easy for me to understand, and the kids, I think the boys are the kind of boys that if I'd had children that I would like to have anyway.
I was thinking when I was watching the clip, these two young men are getting to work with Bo Derek. Do they have a concept? I mean, they look fairly young as actors.
Yeah.
Did they have a concept walking into this show of who you were and who you are and what you meant to so many young men in this country?
One did, yes. One, his father took him to see Tarzan. The other one said no, he didn't. It was right live on an interview. They said, so what did you think when you found out Bo Derek was going to play your mother? And he said, oh, well, really, I didn't know who she was, but my father and my grandfather sure got excited. So
that's kind of a mixed compliment, isn't it?
It's one of those milestones. That, I've had a few. There are a few different ones that when the first time you hear them, it's kind of shocking, and that was one of them.
This show is shot on location on Hawaii.
Yes.
Now, I've had people in the past who've said that when you shoot a show on location, the nightmares increase twofold because the scheduling is harder, you wait for weather. How difficult is it on location? Obviously, it's a nice location.
It's beautiful. The big island of Hawaii is awesome. I'm so comfortable and happy there. The ranch country is big, beautiful. The largest ranch in the United States is there. So, and I love horses and cattle ranching, so I'm happy there. And at the same time, you have the most beautiful beaches. I scuba dive and things like that. It's a big cast, so I work 2 or 3 days a week, which is nice for me right now. I don't think I could have gone into something where the work was really hard.
Yeah, it has obviously been a difficult transition period for you. You lost your husband, I think it was last March.
May.
Last May. After being together so long, for so many years, how are you adjusting to the loss and to being alone?
Not well. I don't, I'm functioning, which I guess is good, but I think everybody does it their own way. I shock myself sometimes.
In what way?
It's very funny. I remember when I learned about Katie Couric, and I remember when she came back, and I remember thinking, how do you come back? How do you go to work? How is work good for you? I just imagined that I couldn't do such a thing. And for me, it's been an absolute blessing. I think that having a schedule, being around people again right away, I had 2 months off, and getting into I'm lucky. They're telling me what to say, when to get up, where to go, all those things. And I think it's really helped me so much.
I was interested to read that your husband, John, didn't want you to do this series when it first came up. Any second thoughts then after he passed away to think, well, maybe it's not what should be done?
No, I never had second thoughts about it. and I thought it was funny. It was actually, he didn't want me to do it because he didn't see me as the matronly Barbara Stanwyck character. And I saw her as being a more modern mother. And so we fought a bit about it. But in the end, he was always very happy when I really believed in something and I went against what he thought. For him, it was terrific, in a funny way.
So much was said about your relationship with John. I know so much of it disturbed you because I think it was characterized in a way that perhaps was not appropriate or realistic to you. Do you think people really understood that relationship?
Probably not, except for the fact that it was 25 years. I think that just sort of proved out that it was meant to be and that it was substantial and real. Although we weren't out to prove anything, because I think of all the people, we didn't think it would last either. He was 30 years older. I was very young. It wasn't easy. It had some really dark moments in the beginning. And so, of course, it was natural to conclude there was a Svengali situation. But as I just said, his favorite thing was when I stood up against him and did what I wanted to do. And he's a very strong man, very intelligent, very forceful, and he wouldn't have been with a puppet anyway.
Our condolences for your loss.
Thank you.
But we should say we're happy to see you on NBC starting this Saturday night at 8 o'clock.
Thanks.
Come back and see us, Bo. 7:50, we'll be back in a moment. This is Today on NBC.
You be careful, Lee.
Bo Derek, welcome back to Today. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You haven't worked an awful lot lately. What is it, or what was it about this show that made you say, okay, I'm ready to get back in front of the camera?
I was kind of ready anyway. I wasn't specifically looking for television, but Zalman King brought the project to me, and it had, to read the script, it had a very old-fashioned Big Valley feel, which was one of my favorite shows. I didn't see myself necessarily as the Barbara Stanwyck part, but it's a great part. I love it. And at the same time, it has a very modern feel with extreme sports and a lot of action. And I get to do a lot of riding, and I grew up doing water sports in my own life. So it felt very comfortable.
One of the things that you noticed right off the bat when we saw the clip is that in the show you play the mother of two teenage boys who are very much into, as you mentioned, extreme sports. How is it, not being a mother, taking on the role of motherhood in a series like this?
I don't know. I have nothing to base it on, except I've raised a lot of horses and dogs, so I'm just assuming they're not very different. So, but it's well written. It's easy for me to understand, and the kids, I think the boys are the kind of boys that if I'd had children that I would like to have anyway.
I was thinking when I was watching the clip, these two young men are getting to work with Bo Derek. Do they have a concept? I mean, they look fairly young as actors.
Yeah.
Did they have a concept walking into the show of who you were and who you are and what you meant to so many young men in this country?
One did, yes. One, his father took him to see Tarzan. The other one said no, he didn't. It was right live on an interview. They said, so what did you think when you found out Bo Derek was going to play your mother? And he said, oh, well, really, I didn't know who she was, but my father and my grandfather sure got excited. So
That's kind of a mixed compliment, isn't it?
It's one of those milestones. That, I've had a few. There are a few different ones that when the first time you hear them, it's kind of shocking. And that was one of them.
This show is shot on location on Hawaii.
Yes.
Now, I've had people in the past who've said that when you shoot a show on location, the nightmares increase twofold because the scheduling is harder, you wait for weather. How difficult is it on location? Obviously, it's a nice location.
It's beautiful. The big island of Hawaii is awesome. I'm so comfortable and happy there. The ranch country is big, beautiful. The largest ranch in the United States is there. So, and I love horses and cattle ranching, so I'm happy there. And at the same time, you have the most beautiful beaches. I scuba dive and things like that. It's a big cast, so I work 2 or 3 days a week, which is nice for me right now. I don't think I could have gone into something where the work was really hard.
Yeah, it has obviously been a difficult transition period for you. You lost your husband, I think it was last March.
May.
Last May. After being together so long, for so many years, how are you adjusting to the loss and to being alone?
Not well. I don't... the salt water was the cure-all for whatever ails you.
I know, isn't it?
You're in a good mood.
Yeah, well, Iz came up with a stake for coal. Guy's trying to rustle up a boat. So it looks like we're gonna head out and chase the big waves and the big money after all.
Have you told your father?
pulls with him now.
Your father and I made a pact long ago to keep this land and work it. It was our dream. You follow your dreams wherever they may take you. You be careful, Lee.
Bo Derek, welcome back to Today. Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to be here.
You haven't worked an awful lot lately. What is it, or what was it about this show that made you say, okay, I'm ready to get back in front of the camera?
I was kind of ready anyway. I wasn't specifically looking for television, but Zalman King brought the project to me, and it had, to read the script, it had a very old-fashioned Big Valley feel, which was one of my favorite shows. I didn't see myself necessarily as the Barbara Stanwyck part, but it's a great part. I love it. And at the same time, it has a very modern feel with extreme sports and a lot of action. And I get to do a lot of riding, and I grew up doing water sports in my own life. So it felt very comfortable.
One of the things that you noticed right off the bat when we saw the clip is that in the show you play the mother of two teenage boys who are very much into, as you mentioned, extreme sports. How is it, not being a mother, taking on the role of motherhood in a series like this?
I don't know. I have nothing to base it on except I've raised a lot of horses and dogs, so I'm just assuming they're not very different. So, but it's well written. It's easy for me to understand, and the kids, I think the boys are the kind of boys that if I'd had children that I would like to have anyway.
I was thinking when I was watching the clip, these two young men are getting to work with Bo Derek. Do they have a concept? I mean, they look fairly young as actors.
Yeah.
Did they have a concept walking into this show of who you were and who you are and what you meant to so many young men in this country?
One did, yes. One, his father took him to see Tarzan. The other one said no, he didn't. It was right live on an interview. They said, so what did you think when you found out Bo Derek was going to play your mother? And he said, oh, well, really, I didn't know who she was, but my father and my grandfather sure got excited. So
That's kind of a mixed compliment, isn't it?
It's one of those milestones. That, I've had a few. There are a few different ones that when the first time you hear them, it's kind of shocking, and that was one of them.
This show is shot on location on Hawaii.
Yes.
Now, I've had people in the past who've said that when you shoot a show on location, the nightmare is increased twofold because the scheduling is harder, you wait for weather. How difficult is it on location? Obviously, it's a nice location.
It's a beautiful, the Big Island of Hawaii is